Yeah, it's nice. Nice little long weekend, which is good. And Sydney's set for some nice weather over the weekend, I'm hoping. We've got some high winds, but they're looking like they're starting to settle down, which is nice. Yeah, awesome. Well, we have a couple more minutes. Bit of an intro. I'm not sure. I may have met some of you, I may have not. I'm Sarah. I am the accounting associate here at Rewst. Kind of started my journey in the rock, moved through to customer success. So I may have been your customer success manager at one point throughout your journey here at Rewst. And now I've moved over to finance to help out the team there and absolutely loving it. You've got an amazing team behind you. Rock support is great. And we've even got Joe here today. Aren't we lucky? I can see Joe's little head pop in there. So we've got Ray and Joe, our rock support stars. And then we've also got Jake down there, which is part of our AS team, which is also a massive help to us. So to kick things off, we might pass over to Jake for some updates.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Mel, Sar, good to see you both here. We recently did have calls together, but welcome to Open Mic. So I guess I'll share my screen, and I guess the first component of my presentation is covering the updates that have happened over the past few weeks. So we'll start with marketplace updates. The first things I'll mention are the bug fixes and chores. So with regard to the Microsoft User Onboarding crate, we have removed the secondary email domain field. We've had a lot of feedback that this field isn't really utilized. If you are utilizing though, please let us know and we can help get that running for you again. For the deactivate ConnectWise contact PSA or the ConnectWise PSA contact, we have, when a company is listed as inactive, the workflow now creates a dummy replacement contact for that company. And with the replacement being set, the crate can delete or then disable the default contact. We have also updated the alert on the login for non-native country crate. We've updated the filter for the Microsoft Graph List logins to check the include failed attempts or not. We have also fixed the bug with the add clients to Rewst crate. So we've updated the option configuration from sites to site because that's how the endpoint now works. And amongst that, we have also done a bit of work here to increase the cadence of the cron triggers for these crates here. So from being daily to now being on a fortnightly basis, right? We have had feedback on that and we have now changed it for these workflows here. Coming soon as well, we will have per machine pass rotation coming, as well as adding a form link to a PSA ticket board based on type, and other various integrations that are also coming down the pipeline. Now, with developer updates, there weren't too many this week as the team have been really focusing on Rewst and any bugs or stuff like that that's pertaining to Rewst. But we have improved the error message on sub workflow failure. And I guess the next thing I'll point out here is Rewst is now officially in Rewst as of 2 days ago. And later on in this presentation, I will go through, we'll delve into it, and I'll show you some of the possibilities that it now allows you to do. Now, in education, we have mainly the two updates here, right? So we have now got a Rewst crash course. So this will act as a bit of an introductory course, I guess, prior to going through the foundationals course. And it will just take you to the platform based on, sort of learning the key fundamentals of navigating the platform. It's a pretty good, course to go through. It is 53 minutes, but this is a brand new course that we have just released. And other than that, we have made improvements to these following documentation pieces. So we do always take your feedback in and we do adapt that and continuously update our documentation so that they're relevant and there are no issues with wording or anything like that in them. Cool. And that concludes the first portion of my call. I'll hand it back to you now, Sarah.
Thank you. Always doing our updates so well. Do we have Jaden from Systema here? I do see a Jaden there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. When you're ready.
Yeah, so I'll sort of run through. We had a requirement last week from our operations manager to come up with a solution to authenticate people over the phone. So there was sort of a bit of a gap in our process where we were having people call up and going, hey, I need a password reset, I need MFA passwords, whatever. And we had no way to sort of authenticate they are who they are without sort of comparing caller IDs and whatnot. So we actually asked sort of Ray and Scarlett for a bit of advice on App Builder, and I did a bit of scouring through the Discords and whatnot, and came up with a sort of App Builder solution. So I will say full credit to the form on this is someone else, but I have hijacked part of it and sort of repurposed it. So what we have now is a custom tab in our Halo, links directly to the App Builder page for this. It pulls data like the client, ticket number, the contact on that ticket, as well as their phone number from Halo directly into the App Builder page. And allows us to send a code to them through Touch SMS, which we have set up as a custom integration. From there, sort of sends an SMS to the client. We're on the call with them. Hey, can you just validate the code for us? We get the code on our side as well. It allows us to sort of compare. And then the guys can just put in a ticket number, hit verify, and it logs everything in the ticket, make sure that we've actually verified who they are. And also, as I said, it's pulling all the data from Halo. So it's a known source to us. We know that that's their number, who they are, and we're not worrying about someone calling up. And we have a client at the moment who's actually getting pen tested, and we're part of the pen test. So having the ability to actually know that the person we're speaking to is the person we're speaking to, and they're approved to make those kind of requests, has been a big sort of metric for us, and a big win for us. So as I mentioned, it stores everything in the ticket, sends a code to the number, comes through as an SMS. I actually have a slide deck because I was told I'm not allowed to show the back end of Halo to people. But so let me just, how do I full screen on? I don't know how to full screen on PowerPoint. Here we go, sure. So it sends through an SMS sort of similar to this. Just, hey, here's the code, comes to their mobile number, comes from us as well as an identity with a bit of a message saying, hey, if you've received this and not who you are, give us a call. The flow is very straightforward on the back end for the SMS. It's literally just sending a text message to the person, adding a link to the ticket saying we've requested the code, and then there's a second flow that puts another ticket note in saying, hey, they've confirmed who they are. The App Builder side probably isn't the prettiest. I think there's a few more that we want to do on it, like having the guys have to put the code in manually. Didn't have time to do that because the guys had a meeting on Wednesday about it, but sort of where we got to. Yeah, that's kind of what we built in the last sort of 3 days. I've got barely any experience with HTML or App Builder, but there was a pretty good little experiment to try and learn some stuff. There was a few other things that we sort of learned along the way as a part of this as well. So let me just see if I can find the slide. Yeah, so like even redirecting between App Builder pages to get that result across the ticket ID. I also stole a redirect script for a pop-up from the App Builder Discord and sort of repurposed it using good old ChatGPT. So that sort of redirect pop-up you saw with the SMS as well, that was added in through that, and it passes directly to the confirmation page with the ticket ID as a variable. And that way that ticket ID is actually passed into the screen. So then that triggers off the workflow to pull the code back from Halo. So on the logic side, if I go back to I didn't put these in any sort of order. For the iframes in Halo, we found out that Halo iframes actually allow you to pull data from the ticket that you're accessing that iframe from, including the vault ID, contact ID, user ID, and we just put those into the URL for that page. So that pre-fills the form with all those values. Yeah, that was sort of the big win for us, was being able to have the guys not have to think. They can just open that tab. Everything's going to propagate immediately for them. They know that what they have in there is correct. If there's no phone number for that client in Halo, it has a message on that form saying no phone number available, use an alternate method, and then the sort of a link to the documentation that we have internally on what our processes are. Where's the other thing? The other thing that we had to do was find a way to store the code. I was looking at doing SQL, but my reports guy said, no, not yet, I'm doing things. So I had to find an alternate solution, and we recently set up a travel flow where we use custom fields in Halo to get around the 30-day delay limit on Rewst, where we store the end date and start date. And I'm like, well, let me just repurpose that. So we actually just set up a custom field within Halo, and that's stored as an action, updated by an action in Rewst. So when that first thing kicks off, it goes, okay, here's the code, put it in as a custom field in that ticket. When it gets redirected to the second page, use the ticket ID from the redirect URL as a trigger for another workflow, which pulls the code back in. So it's a bit of a weird workaround. I don't know if I have the other slide here. I really just should have put these in way better order, but that's okay. Yeah, so this is sort of the getting the code from Halo. So in the app builder side, we just have the workflow run on opening of that page. The page variables are set to pull the ticket ID, as I mentioned, and then that code is outputted as the text on the screen, and the guys can just copy the ticket ID, goes through and does it. Is the next slide the verify user page? Yeah, I've already showed you guys this, but as I said, it's just pulling variables straight from Rewst and the ticket and putting everything through from there. But yeah, that's kind of my sort of first foray into the app builder thing and something we come up with. And I did actually give credits as well to the people who have given me the ideas for things. So that, as I said, the form and the layout was from Max, who posted was on one of the open mics for US, and the script was from someone in the Discord. So yeah, is there any questions on that? I do speak fast, so apologies. I should have put credit to Ray on here as well. Actually, he was a massive help on this one too. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Thankless job, mate. Thankless job. But yeah, that's sort of one of the things that we've sort of started doing, I guess.
So how much time is being saved in verifying people, do you think, using this versus the old way?
I think from a verification standpoint, it's probably not much time saved, but from a record keeping perspective and an actual validation and sort of a security perspective, it's a much bigger win. Realistically, they could still just check the Max caller ID, compare it to the one in Halo, but spoofed phone numbers, et cetera, this is a much more solid way to make sure that we've sent them something. And I suppose the time saving is the client cleanup when we do it by incorrectly and they have a complaint with us saying, hey, why did you do this without verifying someone? And the account manager spend 3 days trying to win client back over. So I suppose the time savings is whatever the AM has to spend on it. Yeah, it's not really a technical time saving, but from a happiness of my team kind of standpoint, it's a bit much for more of a saving. So
awesome work.
So yeah, if anyone wants this slide deck, it covers most of the Halo side of stuff. I'm happy to share it around. And if anyone needs any of the workflow stuff as well, I'm happy to sort of give you guys a bit of a rundown of what I've set up. As I mentioned, there's probably a better way to do it, but I do it in a quick sort of time frame. So
nice, thank you. Can I just say I love the PowerPoint presentation. That was great.
Yeah.
Always love a good PowerPoint.
I was nervous and I didn't want to forget something.
That's so good. Very prepared. I love it. I'm now going to jump to Alden. I heard you got something to show off.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're not calling you too quickly.
Sorry.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So first, I don't know what time it is for most of you. I know it's 9 p.m. for me. So real quick, just kind of let's wake up, do a little exercise, and have everyone put your left hand out, and then your right hand out, different angle, and then we're gonna bring them together about 5 times. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Alden Wilson. If you guys have seen me before, you've seen me before. If you haven't, you haven't. I've presented on the Australian Open Mic. Before it was the Australian Open Mic, and kind of kicked it off with Ray for a while. Have been talking to Ray and a few of the people in here. And I do, besides Rewst stuff for my company, I do pro serves for Cyberdrain. So any Australian or New Zealand customers with Cyberdrain or SIP who have gotten onboarding recently may have accidentally had to work with me. So little introduction there. So what I've got today to show off, I work in a bit different of an industry. I don't do MSP directly, but I do work with I actually work for one of my old clients. So we do a lot of data processing as a large data processing client. We do a lot of affiliate marketing data processing. So I've got a bit of a workflow built up here, just kind of showing kind of one of our day-to-day processes. And so So typically, for us, when we have an offer or an advertisement go live, we get a message that posts in Teams, and I'll go ahead and blow this up a bit, and it, Zoho updates. We've got a number of a product, we've got the customer, and we've got the CSM essentially. Uh, Now that's great and all, but none of the things that I've blocked out here are really hyperlinks or anything that are actually useful for people to click on in Teams. It's just another Teams notification. It's just another Bing that you ignore and try to create in your sleep. So I've decided with my team that we're going to go ahead and change that, make things a bit more actionable, a bit more active, and a bit more fun. So I don't know if anyone here is familiar with doing bot things within like Azure or Disk or Teams bots, but a lot of us on the other side of the planet are doing Teams bots with Rewst, and so here's kind of some of the magic that I work with ours. So taking this example here, where we've got an advertiser manager, and a product number that's getting passed through. Uh, with that, I'm taking that, I'm doing a quick little get off, and that just gets me a Teams bot tokens so that I can use my Teams bot to send messages in Teams. From there, I've got a little decision maker here, and I can zoom in. I know my resolution is a little off, but I got a decision maker here. So this one will check if the webhook coming from Zoho contains a field called requesting affiliates. If it does, great, we can go ahead and start doing all the fun stuff. If it doesn't, we can go and do the boring stuff. You can look on the YouTube channel and you can see some of the boring stuff I do. It's really crazy, but it's a lot of line of business awful stuff. Kind of shows you some ideas though of what you could offer for customers. But kind of back to the matter here. If we do get a requested affiliate, and so that would be, let me find this workflow. I just had it saved here in a different tab. Um, that would be an execution like this one here, where um um I've got parameters here with got parameters here. And in my context, I do have a affiliate data item. So that's gonna have some of my employees, and both like the offer and their affiliate or their customer. So kind of wrapping this back, I'm taking that information in, and if they do successfully exist in there, I break it out into some nice JSON data, as you can see here, because our software is definitely not going to send it through as that, just like no one else's will send it up. I send like junk. So I have a little bit of a translation Jinja that I actually used RoboRusi yesterday to write. So congrats to RoboRusi. But I've got that going out to one of my custom sub workflows, which again, if you've seen me on here in the past, you'll understand that this is basic. If you haven't, I apologize. My company's line of business CRM is gross, and so it takes about this many steps to create a ticket. So we go through there with every JSON match that we've got, again, from these workflow results, and we build out a custom link for the advertiser to put as a tracking pixel on their website. So, which I know is a very fun and easily debatable industry, but I do that through here along with some Floridian wizardry, as I call it. We built a custom SQL procedure that also will find from the offers or from the products that we sell similar people who also sell the same product or similar products to offer to our clients. We got I got Duvalaki here just because it's not quite done yet. This was built over the past hour. Well, Ray reminded me that it would be nice if I could help. But it brings everything together, it conglomerates together, and the end result is, instead of having a Teams message like this come through, we're having a Teams message like this come through where we've got rich links, we've got links for people to send immediately to their clients, and also we've got some commands down here for the bot that I've built that will again create more links for our advertisers and affiliates to be able to properly track click-through conversions on their ads, which again is a whole lot of not MSP stuff, but is very relatable in a lot of ways, and is also something you can think about if you're thinking about kind of operationalizing your automations and building for your customers and not just for yourself. And with that, I'm Alden or Lalden. You can find me on the Discord always. I am typically online during Australian hours. I do all my Cyberdrain stuff 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. my time, so it's like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. your guys' time. So, yeah. I haven't been looking at the chat. Do we got any questions, comments, or other things to be asked in the Discord?
Thank you for sharing that with us. Appreciate you jumping in and taking the time to share it with all our, I guess, our Oceania side of Rewst, which is exciting. We're definitely expanding and we're definitely growing. So I appreciate you jumping on and taking the time and sharing with us today.
My pleasure.
So let's jump across to Jake again. The floor is yours.
Hello again, everyone. I'm back. All right, so the big update for, I guess, this month and even probably this year, Robo-Roosty. So essentially, this is going to act like your co-pilot for Rewst. You can read the actual workflow you're looking at, understand your tasks, ginger, escalations, notes. It can explain what a workflow does in plain English, or as I present in various different languages that you might be native to. It could auto document the canvas as is presented here, which I'll show a bit as well. It can diagnose failures and read execution and task logs. And it can also suggest concrete improvements for performance, error handling, validations, and naming, right? So I guess in this demonstration, I'm going to walk you through some of the possibilities and power that this allows you to sort of take advantage of on the platform, right? So in my first example here, right, we have the OpenAI crate for autonomy of triage. Now it's currently developed for, ConnectWise, and that might be a problem because your PSA might be Halo or it might be Autotask. So let's ask it. Well, I've already pre-filled this just for the sake of the demonstration purposes, but in this example, I've asked it, so this is developed for ConnectWise, but can you give me advisory on, actions or endpoints for Datto Autotask? And it reviewed my integrations, it reviewed the workflow, analyzed it basically, and it returned me back with the endpoints that I need to basically change and readapt for Autotask. You can see here, there's all the different actions that I need to take advantage of for Autotask, right? You can see there's more information. And then I kept prompting it. So what code do I need to include into these actions? Because these actions do have some code involved, right? And it then provided me with a clear example of code. This is JSON, but you can prompt it to give you PowerShell, Ginger, Python, any programming language that you'd be utilizing, right? But this example, it gave me some JSON, right? You can see here, this is the JSON code that it gave me. And in the next step that I asked it, I'm like, well, hang on a second. How do I configure the trigger? Because the trigger needs to be different as well. And it also provided me ample guidance on how to create the trigger, but also, curate the trigger into being for Autotask specifically, right? You can see here, there's some trigger conditions that it's actually invoked here as well, right? And that concludes, I guess, the first component, right? Now, let's just say, for instance, you have another language that you operate in normally, right? For me, I am half Italian. And so I did ask it to basically give me some recommendations on how to improve the workflow, but I asked it in Italian. So it should have access to any language. So whether you're, speaking in French, Chinese, or whatever it may be, the platform, the Rewst, can actually respond back and give you the answer in your native language, right? So you can see here, this is Italian. Now, unfortunately, I can't really read Italian, so I'd be lying if I said I could. But it's an example where it can give you, a prompt or an output in a different language, right? Now, let's go to the next step here. So in this workflow, we have a failure of an execution. So I always been asked to the AI, right, just in case it becomes sentient. I say, hey, Roosty, why did the workflow fail? And what are some solutions you can provide to fix the problem? Now, Rewst operates within your context, so it can see and understand what you see as a user, right? And in this example, it can read the execution based on the task ID, and it's gone through and actually reviewed the issue. And you can see here that the issue was a bad request, right? So this is essentially going to help you with automating troubleshooting, right? Because you could, in theory, open up the execution, you could pull this into the context, or you could simply prompt Rewst and then get recommendations for how to fix the issue, right? So there could be a real good help to just get you over the line with, fixing some of your problems that you're running into. Now, in my next example, right, so you may be thinking as well, you come into the platform and you're not quite sure where to go. So you can also ask it, how do I create new workflows? And it will give you a full in-depth process on how to do such a thing. It'll tell you where to go to navigate and get into the workflow. It'll tell you how to set up a trigger, right? And because it's got full context of our full knowledge base article or documentation platform, it has the ability to really give you detailed answers, and you can keep talking to it, keep prompting it if you don't like the answers, and it will eventually return you the answer that you need, right? You can also see that sources are cited amongst here, and these are actually links that you can actually go to. So for instance, it's actually referencing our workflow doc here. And as they improve and as the context improves, Rewst will also improve as well. So as I go down, what is the trigger? I wasn't sure. It went in and explained what a trigger is. It then explained some of our core triggers. So our core triggers are the main triggers to actually actuate the workflow. It's showing here, we have core triggers of cron job, form submission, trigger types, right? Webhook, ticket triggers, and other ones here. But I kept going. I heard about using an option generator to link the workflow to a form field. What does this do? It went about and explained what an option generator is, and it also gave a real-world example, right? And I continued to prompt it, right? Give me ideas on how to generate the workflow around adding a role to a Discord and user, right? And then it recommended those steps. Now, the ability for this system to actually build out the workflows via prompt is coming later on this year. But as for now, it has the ability to document and also give you advice. Now, I didn't show you the documentation function before, but essentially using the notes section here, what you will notice is a generate order document button. So basically you press this and autonomously, it will actually analyze the workflow, and it can actually understand the sub context as well. So the parent, so the sub workflows here, it has an understanding of. And you can see here, the notes are quite extensive. You can see the tasks that is bundled into one action here in the note, right? You can see, I can keep going down. It's pretty extensive. And this is really good for continuity purposes, right? If your orders want to understand what the workflows are doing, or if you want to feed this into a knowledge base system. We actually did get feedback from that, and we are developing out ways that we can pipe in this output into your knowledge base documentation platforms. That'll be coming soon. And I guess what I'll also show is in this example here, right, I'll start off with the hello. I wanted to understand improvements that could be made to this workflow, right? So it assessed the workflow, read it all, right? And then it returned with some improvements. So it said the current issue is the workflow has no description, right? Add a description. It also actually documented the workflow for me without me needing to auto document, right? So it did put in a few different fields here, just based off what I asked it to, right? If I remove that, let's not remove that. Let's go up and remove this and go to here. Oh, and it's gone. But essentially, one of the feedback points we had was around clients wanting to get optimization and improvements to the workflow, so better error handling, right? And I've actually just lost the conversation. It's always fun to have that in place. But yeah, basically, you can recommend optimization improvements, better error handling caches, and things like that. So I guess what I'll ask now is, are there any questions that anyone has around Rewst? Cool.
Did you have any difficulties at first kind of figuring out the limits or not the limits? Like what was your process for experimenting, I guess, to see exactly how far you could reach and how far you couldn't reach?
That's a great question. So I guess it's just based on me being somewhat of a prompt engineer. I just kind of asked to do certain things, and eventually, every now and then, I was running into an error, right? Sometimes it couldn't give a response. Sometimes it would just not give anything. I guess the main limitation, and I've seen this through some people, is they have tried to get it to build out the workflows for them. But other than that, the real limitation is just, I guess, the prompt, right? So based off how good the prompt is or how, extensive you want to make the prompts, you'll get a better return, right? So it's really just, I guess, hygiene around prompt engineering. And we are actually developing some documentation around prompt guides. And also in the Discord, we are going to be providing and sharing good prompts that clients have been using to get the most out of Rewst. So that's what I'll say to that. Any other questions from anyone? Cool. So yeah, if you've got any other questions, I guess you can present them in the Teams chat, or you can ask in Discord. We'll be more than happy to answer the questions. We are, again, iterating on Rewst and making it better as time goes on, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So any problems you're having, any bugs that you find, please let us know, and we'll work on rectifying them as swiftly as possible. So I guess if there's no further questions, I'll hand it back to Sarah. And thank you all for listening to my little rumble.
Thanks, Jake. I like to think of like Rewst as like Roost's little wingman. It's great. Definitely a little fan favorite of that one. Awesome. Let's jump over to Ray. You got a demo for us.
Cool. So I have a demo that comes up with a lot of new customers about approvals. How do I get Rewst to send an approval to my client, have them either approve or deny something, and a couple of issues that comes up around that. Before I start though, I'll just mention, so I was working at an MSP with Rewst over a year ago. I've been spending about 3.5 years playing around with Rewst now. So I'll show off anything I can to just try and make your lives easier, so you don't have to learn the hard way on how to do things. So all I'm going to do here is I will share this screen. So by default, Rewst has built in a call confirmation email, which allows you to just, what I've done here, I've made a form. I can just put random names in, and Sam, for instance, and it's going to go and use a call confirmation email. And I'm going to show you what it does, just so you have it up front. It will run off. It will send an email out to someone. In the workflow itself, if I go down to it, you can specify what the subject is, the message, whether you want approvals, whether you don't, what do you want the buttons to do, basically, and how the data comes back. So in this simple example, it sent 3 emails just called confirmation test. Hey, do I approve this confirmation, yes or no? By default, if you're using our confirmation action, when you hit the button, it's going to redirect you to rewst.io. The issue that comes up here, and the question I get asked a lot on the Rock, how do I change it so I can redirect this anywhere? Well, by default, Rewst and the core confirmation, you cannot edit where it's redirecting to. So let's just go through this flow anyway. I approved it. I'm then getting an email, hey, the request has been approved by Sam, right? Nice and easy. But if I go through and delete these, what you can do, on the other hand, is you can create what everyone will know as a create webhook action. Using the create webhook action, I can set a response body, which will be a HTML page. So basically what I'm doing using the Rewst core actions of await webhook request and create webhook request, using these tied together, I can now create the approval process, but control where it's redirecting to. So I want to do a get. I want to put a HTML website in here. I want the response headers to be content type text HTML. And then I'm going to be sending my emails through, looping through, creating a single confirmation email per person. And then each of them will have a separate URL to click in their email. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that are happening here. Let's just get to the example first. So if I go to Ray and maybe Sam and maybe Max again, because nice and easy, and I change it to a custom webhook, I'm now going to, given the ability in my workflow, to set the redirect URL. So I'll submit that. We're going to get 3 new emails. And in here, if I highlight the approve or the deny URLs, you will see down the bottom that I'm actually going back to an engine.rewst.asia webhook, same as the core confirmation does. But I've appended to it approval equals denied and the email address that I'm using for testing. The reason I've done this way I know who's approving or denying the email. And now if I hit the link, I've got a nice little website that is telling me that I'm about to be redirected to Google. So the benefit is you can have this come up with a splash page for your MSP, whatever you need, and have an approval process where your clients know it was by you, it's related to you, or you can relate it back to the client. You can make the splash page however you want and have it look however you need it to for that client. So for instance, if I go back down here, in the core create webhook, as I said, this is the redirect HTML. There's nothing really special here. HTML online viewer. All it's going to do is it will generate this page. Now, a couple of the things that we've done in here, using JavaScript, we're actually looking for, actually it's not in this one, that's just a standard one. Oh no, here it is. If status equals approved. So we're looking for a parameter up the top saying approval and approved. If it is, we'll show one image. If I use the same emails again, Smith, Ryan, do create webhook, come back here. So what we have also done in this, because we're using just HTML, we can have different images pop up and different things occur on the page related to if they get approved, because it's looking for approval equals denied or approval equals approved in this. So you can go in, you can modify the HTML based on the link that your clients are clicking on in their emails to show different websites and different things based on what actions they need to take, right? Nice and simple. The last example that I started putting together was a percentage thing where you can start doing some really cool things where maybe you need 25% of the people to reply. Maybe you need 100%. You can even get your workflow to this point. So maybe certain approvals, it's almost like it's required that everyone replies before an action gets taken. So you can push your approval processes to this level all through a workflow. I'm not going to go through this one right now just because it's more or less the exact same thing. And I haven't finished building out the entire workflow with here. But just showing off that with forms as well, you can have them do quite a few nice visual things for your end users. The other thing I will hear about is right now, all of these are coming from no reply at Rewst.asia because I'm using the core SMS action to send the email. So I'm using our core send mail action, which is going to be a Rewst email address. Something I will be sharing after this call is one of the things the rest of my team have made, custom email action that allows you to specify your email address from your MSP. Basically, the way this works, you set up a listener workflow at your MSP level, and that will just basically get the user account you want to send from within your tenant, and it will send the custom email to whoever you want it to go to. And then at your client level, you're running through this workflow, which you can just copy into any workflows you're working on. And when it runs at the customer's level, it will go through, set up an approval process. It will do a number of things. You just specify it all here. And then when you hit test, it is sending from your domain using your 365 account. So it's all validated and verified. Between these two things, this covers about 90% of the questions I get on approvals and how all of that works. The last quick thing I'm just going to mention. So I made this workflow in Rewst quite a while ago now. It would take about 35 minutes to run. With RoboRoosty and just using a simple prompt, can you review every task in this workflow and let me know how I can optimize it? It started going through mentioning where I've got sequential calls I can pull in, where I'm using things like pipe list rather than pipe count. It started going through the Ginger itself and telling me, hey, you can get 30 to 50% faster execution by doing A. You can do this and get B and so on. This workflow has gone from 35 minutes to 1.5 minutes runtime now, just by asking one simple prompt here. And then at different points, it would say, hey, you can do this, use this to make it better, or you can do this. And then I'd ask, you said it would be quicker to do it this way. Is this correct? And going back and just validating. But yeah, it's speeding up my workflow execution time and limiting the amount of tasks that I need. And that's it for what I'm showing off. Does anyone have any questions on anything I've done? And I'll share the workflows just so you can dig into them as well.
I do. Thought patterns around like two things, obviously, when it comes to like authentication and componentry around that, like for approval workflows, like requiring authentication. Have you put any thought pattern into how to do that? Like I'm thinking the idea of using like SAML or using Rewst for the actual app side of it to be able to have people log in prior to being able to provide their approvals. And then the other one that we see common in approval processes is either 2-stage or 3-stage approval sets.
Yep.
Or secondary approver. So in other words, if that person doesn't respond within a duration, going into the second approver to be able to get it done.
Yeah, so second approver isn't hard. You just so
you
on
just
the
have a wait
workflow
timer, right? And then you would basically just say go to this person when it doesn't occur.
Yeah, so all you would technically be doing is, as you just said, like I could add a delay action just here. And then basically go, if it's been 20 hours and hasn't progressed, because as soon as someone confirms and comes back in and they've hit the approval deny, if this side hasn't triggered, this will just trigger and it can go to its own approval and close off the workflow, right? that bit's fairly easy. The SAML authentication and that side of things. So what I have done in the past, rather than having these linking back to an engine.rewst.Asia or engine.rewst URL with just a standard webhook, you could have it linked directly back to an app builder page where the user has to then SSO log in with their 365 account and have it still do the same approval process. So it's still sending the same URL. It's using everything else that I've got in here, but we're adding query URL parameters, to the end of the app builder page rather than an engine page, which would cover your
100%
SSO
my thought
requirement.
pattern on that. Yep.
In terms of your MFA requirement, you could get it to do the same thing. You could actually get it to send an SMS to the same person where they've got a click on the page, either go to App Builder or whatever else, as Jaden showed earlier, using the SMS core action, go to your, rather than doing what I've done here, maybe you might link this into your PSA or even your documentation system where you've marked specific contacts with approver for X, Y, or Z. So you get your workflow to go off and check for the approvers for that company, pull that data back, find the email addresses, send the emails off, find the mobile numbers, send the SMS off. They've then got to log into maybe an app builder page. After they sign in, they still have to type the code that was sent to their mobile before they even get the option to approve or deny, or whatever else you want to do.
Yep.
The reason I keep saying app builder is since it does give you a nice SSO verification login, and you can authorize the specific people who you want on certain pages. It just means you don't have to worry about SAML or setting up your own federated access or anything else to manage it. But you could go to your own third-party system if you wanted to.
It mirrors my exact thought patterns on those two problems. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, any other questions? And did I cover everything that you asked? I think I got it all, but
yeah. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate you as always, and thank you for jumping in and sharing that. Did anyone have any last questions they wanted to ask before we kind of let you guys go? We have a Q&A session, open floor to anyone who kind of wants to put their hand up. Questions, concerns, anything that you saw today, any questions that might pop to the front of the mind?
I'll share the channel link to the Discord channel where I'll be posting everything. Every open mic, I'm just sharing things here. If you've shared something and you want to, Jaden, if you want to put your PowerPoint slide here, then it will be all in one place for people as well. But basically, yeah. So I will share everything new here as well.
Thanks, Ray. And like always, if anything pops up and we're not here, jump into the Discord. Got the Barnyard as well. That's kind of where we pop all our announcements if you haven't seen that as of yet. Otherwise, yeah, jump in your private Discord channel. Someone's always around. They're happy to help out. But otherwise, if you have a long weekend, enjoy it. If not, good luck on Monday.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys. Take care.
Peace.